Didn't hear from him. Good evening, folks. Welcome to our March meeting. We good?
Well, you gotta take.
We're gonna take.
Oh, well, we'll see. Tony, can you hear Frank?
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
We can hear you.
Ed's there too.
So, welcome to our March meeting. First things first, new members. Do you have any new visitors here?
Over there.
Thank you. Do you have any new visitors? Right. In general, first things first, some of you who are IPMS Canada members may have received an email. They've had an increase in their rates. The first email didn't come through, so if you got an email that looks like it's spam, didn't have any attachments, just send an email back saying you need it, so you know how much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I got the second.
Yeah, we got the second.
And I'm like, oh. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, the rates for membership are going up by roughly 15%. It was 37. I think the new rate is going to be $56 a year for Canadian members. That email came out, I think, on Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
56. Did you get it?
It's up to $56.
Yeah, 56. Roughly, well, it's from 37 to 56.
Yeah, okay.
$21 increase. For this week. I think on Monday. Yeah, 56 bucks. Looking at it here. What I'll do is, I know Jeff got it. Yep. So Jeff will resend it with the minutes. Send it out to everyone so that they can see. For those of you that are not.
It's also on their website.
Is it only effective? You've only paid this year. Yeah, it's on your renewal. So if you paid in the last 2 months, you're going to be expected to pay next cycle. Our rates have not gone up. It's still $35 or $27.99 in your first one, but that's outside of that. So just real quick for future meetings, we are always looking for suggestions for demonstrations or topics. So do email us. You can email the executive just to let us know. We've had some interest in airbrushing. We've provided demos in the past. We'll probably do another one. That's always a good topic. But if there's techniques, stuff that you're seeing and wanting to try out, let us know. There's all sorts of new stuff coming in the hobby. I bought gouache paints last week and before as a kid, but I bought those to see how heavily pigmented inks or paints are used, how well they're working. So it's getting there. So yeah, if you're interested in anything, just either let us know at the end of the meeting, come tell us, send us an email, send us a missive, and please let us know. For those that didn't read the last email, we have some remnants from the state sale. So a non-member had passed, a friend of Jeff's, and these are the kits that are remaining. I believe Jeff said they're $5 across the board for the armor.
And $10 for the Seaview and the Essex. And open to negotiate.
So if anyone's interested, during the break, have a quick look. So membership dues, I think, are we sending an email? Usually we try to get our dues in by March. I think Jeff's gonna do one more email to the membership.
Yeah, I have done private emails to the individuals who still haven't paid up, and seen a couple here tonight, and so I'm going to target them, and I'll expect other members who have paid to join me in beating them to a pulp if they haven't paid up by then. Yeah, you do that. Yeah.
So
really, it's really good. We only have maybe 5 or 6, and there's a few I didn't anticipate renewing anyway, so that's not too bad.
So normally after March, we cut off, so you won't be pestered with emails by any of us anymore. So thanks to those members who've paid up. The next thing we're going to talk about is our show. Our show chair is here, and Bill's here. Bill, There's Big Daddy Dawson. Yeah, so the table of champions. So, the show is rapidly approaching. June 7th, here at Fanshawe. Yeah, less than 3 months. So, we're looking for is, we had a few people put their hands up to say they would volunteer. We're gonna need an email from folks, confirmation for those who are, who could volunteer. There's just the 5 of us that are sort of doing it right now. And, things are getting, starting to get a little close. We're still looking for sponsorship. If anyone's looking for sponsorship, a sponsor category on their own, contact Bill. If you want to sponsor a category, we're also looking for corporate sponsors. So the way we set it up last year was, if an organization wants to sponsor us, for example, treasurer, the employer, contributed a couple $100. So we took that as a corporate sponsorship. They get advertising on our website. They get advertising on the show. We give them a bunch of categories for their sponsorship, and then they get a letter of appreciation from us afterwards. So if you've got an organization, you work for somebody, you pick someone that would be interested in, they like to contribute to the community, that sort of thing. Just connect with us, specifically with Bill, and we'll get that set up. Last year, I think we had about 7 or 8 corporate sponsors. It's a long way for helping the show along. Prices are going up. If you've been under a rock, there's stuff going on in the news since January 25th-ish. So, IPMS Canada's email reflects that, right? Part of the reason for the cost increase was the cost of paper's gone astronomically high. Apparently, all printing paper seems to come out of the US. But even our costs are increasing for everything that we're getting. Cost of rental's gone up, equipment costs have gone up. So sponsorship would be a great boon to continue to have a show every 2 years as we have.
Frank.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the business table for the club?
Yeah, so one thing we talked about was, is the club interested in us getting a table to sell your stuff? Everyone's always got maybe, and this segues into our conversation for the meeting tonight, which is active. But everyone's got some kits that they may have not want or looking to get rid of. They got a handful, looking to clean the room up a bit. So we, the executive, are asking, the club would be interested if we would buy our club table and we would ask for a volunteer to help. We would sell the kit. So basically, Devin's got 5 or 6 airplane kits. We keep track of the kits he's given us prior to the show, not the last minute. And then when they're sold off, right, we're like Ed. Is Ed on?
Ed's on.
We're like Ed. There'll be no Dicker sticker, right? He wants $40 a thing. That's what it's going to be. When they sell them, we put the money aside and everyone gets their payoff. So the question of the membership is, there are enough of you that may want to sell kits, divest yourself some of your treasure, if you realize that it's plastic, and would be able to earn that.
And the important thing is the volunteer who will be organizing this will not be one of the current people on the committee.
Yeah, we
It's
need.
got to be someone else. We don't have time.
Yeah,
We're already short-staffed.
So, but Devin, you said you have anyone else? Go ahead. This isn't anything scientific, but if we've got,
Yep, I got it.
you've got you've got at least 6, 7 guys. So we will do a table for the club. We ask the club because there's a cost associated with it. We're not doing this as freebie to ourselves. We will pay for our own table. That's why we're asking. We will pay for a table. We will reiterate this in April and May for our meetings, especially May. So want you to start bringing those kits that you want to sell, so that we can get an inventory and have them up to show you. For those who don't remember, the nice thing about doing here at Fanshawe, we pay for everything at once. So they set up the show to our specs. So they do all the tables, all the setup's done by them. We just come in on Thursday morning, we do some of our initial setups, and then we show up early on the Saturday morning for all the vendors. So like Ed, he's always early, so we show up to help them. Always plenty of volunteers for that, funnily enough. We get all the vendors set up and then start the show running for the day. So,
Oh,
yeah, and we will need volunteers during the day. We ran it last year. We had a few stuff up, which was great, but we need at least a good 7 to 12 folks from the club to come and give us a hand. Yeah, we're looking at getting T-shirts again. If those of you remember last show, I got a sponsor with T-shirts, so we'll have T-shirts for volunteers that are identifiable. And thinking of doing the checker pattern that World War II airplane guys follow me shirts maybe. But we're going to need that support and that help because it is a bit of a day.
So whoever volunteers to organize the club table doesn't mean you're already on the committee. I'm not having you guys stretched even further. Whoever organized, it doesn't mean you have to stay there all day. Everyone who's helping to sell a kit will work there, or some of the volunteers. So just keep that in mind.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're the message is getting out. We're hoping to increase from our last show. We had about 440 kits. We'll see how it goes with Heritage Con. I'm attending. Stuart's going to be there. So Stuart and Jeff, their podcast. I'm going to be there for my podcast. A few other folks that are there. We will be promoting it. We're bringing flyers. We always do anyway to the show. And the guys, yeah, thanks, Steve. The guys from Hamilton are great. Like when they see one of us, the first thing they'll be like, "It's good flyers." We'll advertise that out there. No, and they're because they sold all their tables. So
In 6 hours.
We leave our flyers with Stuart. Usually what we've done, we've had flyers with you at Stuart's little table. We leave them there. I just direct folks to the table when I see them.
And we'll also have some flyers on the table with all the other
And
flyers.
where you register to come in by the gift shop, Hamilton, like Forcan, like we do, had the table with all the flyers, for all your. So we're advertising it's pretty good. I'll get it on. I'll get it on our show, and we're averaging between. I think the numbers are around 25,000 downloads and feeds on our show. So we'll get the word out. And Stuart's got a big audience. It's going to get out on his too. So we're looking forward to it. But we need more hands, right? The Dutch, Bill Alda, take that. We can use the assist. We're getting close to the wire. So again, sponsorship. If you want a sponsor category, let Bill know. You're a business. You have an organization. Want to sponsor, especially corporate sponsorship. Let Bill know. Let the executive know. Connect that. And then with the email out for the next meeting, we'll be definitely looking for volunteer. Get some names on it. Fine. We're doing it. It's pretty well oiled, but it get a bit challenging, especially for Bill with sponsorship and he's doing and we're getting it. But any help from the club? Yes, sir.
There's a list up, it has to be updated.
So Bill will update the list. It is on our website, on the club, on the show website. It will be up on there. And even our application form for people who want to like sponsor, we do ask like, what's your first, second, third, fourth choice? Like, give us a list, right? So if we can't get you your first, because it is first, third, first, come from third.
Bill was also, I don't know if you all heard, he's looking for someone to help him with the sponsorship and the vendor.
Well, he said he's working.
Oh, you got someone?
I've in negotiation.
Okay.
Frank,
Yeah,
Peter's got
no,
it.
Peter, what's up, Pete? Yeah. A lot of hands make light work. That's all. Peter translate. Okay. Sound about right? Sound about right, Mike? Sounds about right. That's the other.
Sounds Polish.
That
Yeah.
sounds forward.
Something about cabbage.
Let's see. All right, so that's our show news. Anything else you want to add, Pete? More? Okay. that's our show news. So Jeff sent out a feeler for the group about the nostalgia build contest. How's the feedback been for that?
It's been great. I mean, all things considered, a lot of guys are interested, a lot of people are interested. My thinking was these kits are kind of a bonus for us. A lot of them are old and from an era that we probably built when we were kids. And I thought it'd be fun just to sort of hey, I go back to the 30s, so no, never mind. No. So the idea was get a kit, preferably one with amazing box art, because the box art was amazing back in the day, and build it. And build it you can either build it the way you did when you were a kid, or you can build it with today's standards as best you can. I started playing with an old Matchbox armor thing, and I was using polyscale acrylics that I found at the back of my paint cabinet that are still good after like 50 years. And it's kind of fun. Mix them all up, and they work fine. And I'm just as unsuccessful with them now as I was back then, but it's worth a try. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, so if you're interested, right, like I said, there are nostalgia kits here, you may have one. We're just looking at anything that's, at least a good 15, 20 years old,
Oh, yeah.
maybe even better, like.
Something that's nostalgia for you, but these kits I thought was a good start. So give it a shot. And for like $5, what can you lose? You're going to have some fun, and you can throw it out if you don't like it.
We'll look at probably showing them all off in the July meeting after our show.
That'd be good.
That'd be a good timing. So we'll look at July. I mean, not everyone here in July, but we'll have our July meeting. So just put it in the minutes that we'll have our show and tell for the nostalgia build, and we'll come up with a suitable prize that'll actually be here, like maybe another nostalgia kit.
Kits that we couldn't get rid of. That'll be the prize.
And anything that's not purchased tonight is going to Operation Vet Build on the weekend, I believe.
Yeah, the only person that I'm still like Cam Murdoch loves these small armor. He's sick tonight, and he sent me a note saying, please don't sell them all, don't donate them all unless I have to.
Well, Garrett Fix will be on his list.
Yeah.
We know what you want to do. We'll go through our display table.
Sorry, we want to mention.
Yes, next month. Yeah, that's right. April, it's the swap meet at the War Memorial. We've got our swap meet. So bring in your kits that you're looking to trade, sell, books. For those of you that like to dump magazines on us, bring your magazines. They don't always go home, but they may find a good place. So April is our swap meet. So there is an ATM on campus if you really need it, but there's 3 of them. But that's when we have our swap meet. It'll be brought up again when you get the notice for next month. It'll be here. Yeah.
Or your heritage conference.
Yeah. No, because if I get the big room, it'll cost us twice as much.
So I suggest then we don't have anyone bring in kits like for display, strictly the swap.
Yeah, we'll just do it. Okay. We'll just do the swap meet next month. We held it was pretty okay at the library. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Mike, the extra room was a bonus. We got to pay $100 a month. But they like me downstairs, so maybe I'll try to read. All right. Anyway, display table for today. Where's the mic? Need that one. Your little mic.
Oh, my little mic right here. And actually, we're starting with Tony first.
Oh, Tony,
Tony has the.
you're up.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear
Yeah.
you just fine.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so this was my last build before I actually joined the club. It was a couple of years ago because I had a couple of years off from building. It's a 148 A6M20 from the Tamiya kit with a couple of mods like the flaps and so on. It's actually an old kit, but it builds pretty well. So I was actually quite pleasantly surprised, expecting it to be a bit of a dog, being, I think it's 1973 it was originally molded. But yeah, it's a good kit, so it was a great fun build. Another interesting thing when I did this was that I use SMS lacquer paints, and I know the guy who runs the business, and we were chatting about Japanese paints, and so I was helping him out with some research on colors because there's a lot of argument about colors of Japanese aircraft. And he sent me a whole pile of freebies after of the Japanese range after he'd put them together for my research, which was nice fun. Yeah, so that's it.
Well done.
Nice. Thanks, Tony. Next up will be, I'm guessing it's a 116 Sherman. By the way, Mikey, hit record. I know.
Balls.
Okay, well, that's my Western World.
Pretty looking aircraft.
I got the details on it.
Is that on a is that on a Blappy Productions aircraft? Wow, look at that, ladies. The Blappy Industries. Shh. Okay. All right. Who did the Sherman? This is for the people online. We're just talking to that one.
Okay, what you got is a 1/16th Sherman Easy 8 from Andy's Hobbies. One of the 80th tanks of the 8 Armored Division from Patton in 1945. Talk about fun to build. Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Next. Peter. Dave would have built that.
That's kit from Dogram called a Blizzard Gunner. The newer Motoroid kit, which was one of the early Motoroid kits, so it did have some fit issues in that. But compared to the original 80s Takara kit that Revell released, it's way beyond it. Being the Blizzard Gunner, I decided to actually paint it in a winter scheme, using white and blue snow and to make hay washing, and the mix of decals, everything from Machine Krieger to Gundam markings, and for Battletech guys, they'd know it as the Scorpion mech. And that was just a nice, fun little build.
Like that camo pattern.
Next. Do the boat.
Do the boat. So this is a kit bashing exercise. It's supposed to be the snowball or snowbird, bluebell, whatever. I'm in the process of kit bashing it, making sub-modules, and it's all going to go and get painted. Definitely not before this weekend. So for example, all of this is scratch built, and you keep on scratch building and modifying the kit. And eventually you end up with something that looks like HMCS Woodstock, but it's not going into the Legion in Woodstock. It's going into the Legion down in Port Stanley. So if they really want it, they'll have to negotiate with Port Stanley to get it, you see. I ran out of glue. I used Tamiya the really thin stuff. I ran out of it. I went down to the Home Hardware. I got a liter of methyl ethyl ketone, MEK. The problem with that is it evaporates so rapidly that you don't get a good bond between the bits of plastic that you're putting together. So in order to slow down the evaporation in the MSDS of that particular glue, it says they use a N-butyl acetate or something, which is a higher viscosity and a much higher flash point. I didn't do that. Somebody at one point in the past told me to get some polystyrene, throw it in, and that'll dissolve and slowed it down. So that worked really well. MEK with about a few chips of polystyrene plastic thrown in, and it's in the Tamiya bottle and it works really well. So that was my go-to, and that's it.
Thank you, sir. Next up, the Red Rocket.
Yeah, 34 Ford, wanted always to have one. Couldn't afford it, so I got the model car kit. That kit's probably 25 years old, 1988 vintage. 34 Ford. It's a difficult kit to put together, but and also I'm trying to do the wet sanding and polish. And I admire you guys for the work you do because it's a lot of work. So it's in progress. I'm getting close, but I do enjoy building it. It's going to be a nice looking kit when it's done. That 34 grill, when it's on that chrome grill, it looks just great. Anyway, it's an old Revell kit. And I was just thinking of you guys with these old kits. I have a lot of old kits and I'm not getting any younger. And I finally decide what I did. I was telling some of the fellas is I just simply went to the ones that I thought I'm not going to build. And I dealt with hobby shops. I dealt with marketplace. I sold a lot. I got close to $1,000, which really surprised me. And now what I've done is I've kept the really nice kits and I'm going to build them. I'm not going to keep them in the box in the plastic. I'm going to start building them. And you know what? I think we have to do this. Really enjoy it because where's it going to go? No, that's right. Pardon me? Oh, Vika? Got the, yeah, the
Okay, Paul. So it looks very much like the color that my 1970 Datsun 240Z was.
Oh, is that right?
Painted that color.
Well, I'll send it to you. I got your number.
But I've been looking for that color like for 10 years. So that's a great. I didn't think it looked like. Yeah, but that looks very much like.
No, I grabbed a few cans and I grabbed a couple cans clear. Can't get that.
Maybe I will have to finish this 240Z kit that I started.
Yeah. Well, I think
Maybe.
if I have some-
Or the 40 other.
Yeah.
Just saying.
if I have some-
You heard that, eh?
That's
Yeah.
it.
We'll note on the paint. Especially, I went down to the Otter Valley Railroad store in Wilsonburg on the weekend.
Okay.
I don't know whether this is a engineering way to get around what Tamiya said they were gonna do.
Okay.
But they coated all the top of the cans with the paint stuff. He has a.
Really?
Really? Yeah, all. Like he just picked up all the. I don't know how they've been, in order to sell them, I think they have to put whatever the chemical code was on the top.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So they put a little label on the top of every one of
Also,
them. It's
maybe-
like CC 1.60 or something or other.
Yep.
He's got a full check.
Yeah, we've,
That's at the, Tilsonburg, Otter Valley Railroad. So it's model railroad store. They got.
well, that's what we figured was happening with the TS rattle, right? All the Tamiya rattle cans that were pulled. It's the same as WD-40 20 years ago. WD-40 got pulled and they changed the formulation. Nobody knew the difference. We're still using it today, right? So that's all we were waiting for. So it's good to hear that it's coming back. I still got a stockpile. Okay, next up is me. This is you want to talk about building a nostalgia kit. I never heard of this company. It's called Certi. Certi only built 4 models, a biplane, and 3 of these, like, exact same kit, but they just reboxed it 3 times. CERTI. So this is a Certi models WZ34. It's a Polish armored car. 34 was the year it came out. It was used when the Germans came a knocking, and then the Germans gave it to the state of Croatia to use the leftovers until they were all destroyed. This is a mid-80s kit. It is very toy-like. It is rough, but that's why I do these old kits. I like taking something that, I found a guy who's built this so far. He posted a pic too. So this is kind of a nice little thing to have on the shelf. Nobody else has got one. It's also the first time I used I used epoxy putty to make tarps. So I was experimenting with that. So just a great little armored car kit. a bear to put together, had to fix quite a bit, but she looks all right.
I heard you like it rough.
You know it, Eddie. See you on Sunday, rough boy.
I'll be waiting, buddy.
Oh, yes, he will. Rawr. All right, who did the Blues Brother mobile? Yeah. You did that. Yeah, you built it. I remember the pictures online.
That's the Revell 2022 something Corvette. I was fortunate enough to win it in the raffle for Brochdale's grand opening, I guess it's called. Right. Yeah, yeah. A very steep learning curve building a regular car. Some aspects of the kit were really nicely molded, and other aspects I sort of went, well, why didn't they do that? But maybe that's standard in the car kit. Things such as the headlight painting baffled the hell out of me. And every time I went to get reference, they were all behind smoked out glasses. So I couldn't get any grass, so I just painted them. It's just going to sit on the shelf and make me happy anyways. But yeah, that was me.
Good. Might be you
Nice and
again.
shiny.
There, oh, look at that. Bill number 2.
Oh, thank you. That's my, sir, we have the wine diorama in progress. The building's coming along nicely. Yesterday evening, I made the top rail for the sliding door and the doors. And the cobblestone road is coming along, almost finished. And there's the little Tilly, again, almost finished. And I say almost finished, because when I get the surrounding scenery finished, I may or may not weather them down to match a little bit better. And sitting in front of me, Ron's printed up a jig to cut some slate or terracotta tiles. And if you want to come over and see these little tiles that I have to lay on top of this sucker, but it's coming along nicely. There's the whole jig. I'm having, again, lots of fun doing that.
And keep your parole officer hat, so you're good. Yeah, oh, we all do. Have you not been taking pictures? See? How'd it go? How'd it go? All right. The hot rod shop. There we go. For our international audience.
That's the Tamiya Highest cargo van. I did it as wanted to do it in the Brian James trailers, a little bit of a hot rod shop, tow vehicles. And then I'm trying to do a resin printed chassis underneath the Studebaker in the back. And that's going to be on the trailer when it's done.
Good. Engine looks good. Next. This George. George's got a puppy mill of modeling in his basement.
We just used some of your people.
Yeah, great. Well, Mei Ling wants to come. Big Mike too. Oh, yes. Yes. There we go. The velvet fog.
Certain individuals in this room who will remain unnamed have always said, you haven't done modeling until you've done a frog. Oh, I did a frog. This kit was molded in 1967. I think I found out. The decals were completely useless, but I did find online some finish decals. So I've done it up in the winter. I found some resin skis and put those on board as well. Painted up nice. You know, there's a lot of little repair jobs you got to do. So what I did was I put it on a base with snow so you wouldn't look at the model so much. It certainly distracted me anyway. The only problem, really a problem I had with it was the kit, the fairings over the landing gear have round landing lights, but they weren't there. So I, took some drills and some sharp things and tried to make them, but they became more oval than round. So in Finland, they're oval. What can I say? Cold one. Thank you.
Well done. Nice finish.
Yeah.
Who's this? Oh, it's yours.
This is interesting because this kind of falls nicely into what Jeff is organizing with nostalgia bills. This is a monogram kit from 1956.
Wow.
It was covered in raised panel lines and rivets, and the rivets were about the size of sesame seeds altogether. So I sanded down the entire kit, got rid of all the rivets, got rid of all the raised panel lines, and rescribed all the panel lines. And then whoever had originally owned this kit from an estate sale, they had kindly put in a set of the Canadian Search and Rescue decals, and they worked. So I used those decals and found out that many of the Canadian versions, this is an albatross, right? Many of the Canadian versions were trifibian, meaning they could land on the water, they could go and land with landing gear, and they also had outriggers on the pontoons and a skid, retractable skid on the fuselage, on the base, so they could land on ice and snow. So I thought, being very Canadian, I'm going to put this on a base with some snow. The rest is just alclad aluminum paint and some enamels from Tamiya to get those glowing reddy orange colors. It was a lot of work to kind of convert it into a Canadian version, but I think the point is this kit is almost as old as I am. It needed as much work as I do. But it turned out pretty good. So I really encourage
nice job.
everybody to grab an old kit and have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well done. Like Mrs. Ray, grabbed her old kit. That's some fun. I'm sorry. Doesn't fall.
All right, so these are a little bit different, and there is a bit of a story that goes with them. They are Kabuya gum kits, and in Japan, it's a big thing to sell toys in drugstores, except there's a law that says you can't do that. So they have to include some kind of nominally edible substance. So Kabuya has made these kits, and they're pretty good. I'm really impressed because they're Transformer kits. That's what we know as Power Master Optimus Prime on the right, and something we aren't familiar with called the God Bomber on the left. And they both came in one box. They are transformable, not anymore, but they were designed to be transformable. And they're basically like a really, really deluxe Kinder Egg toy. But of course, I can't leave it alone, so I had to build it like a normal kit. So they've got hollow arms and legs, and I've done my best to fill those all in with putty. It wasn't fully successful, but it's fine, whatever. I drilled out all the barrels on the guns. I used some of the new Revell spray chrome stuff I got from Bruffdale. It's really good. It's really sensitive. Don't touch it, but it dulls a little bit when you put gloss over it, but it's very nice. It's on par with the Molotov, I'd say. So I did some of the details with that. And I had the Power Master Prime toy as a kid. I loved it. It was a great toy. The only problem was he's really fat, like really fat. The way the truck folds up to fit in the trailer to form that big robot, he just looks like he's been eating pizza for the last 30 years. So what I did is I chopped off the back end of the truck cab so that it fits flush. And now it actually matches the anime model correctly and looks not like a fat dude, but more like an actual, war robot that would kick your ass. They're all hand painted, but they are spray coated flat coat with my usual Ceramcoat flat / satin. They are not simple in the sense that if you want to make them look half decent, you're going to put a lot of work into it, kind of like Frog, but they go together well and they're fun, and the stickers come with them. And it was kind of a blast to put stickers on a Transformer again after like 40 years. So something different, something fun. And I just thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to bring them in and see what you think.
Very cool.
You meet the Jenny Craig robot.
Oh, pretty.
Right, who built Englander?
Yeah, so this,
Use both. That's for our internet.
oh,
folks.
okay.
So this is a kit from 1998 by Revell, Germany. It was pretty simple kit in the 1/72 scale. So I had to do some modifications to the cockpit, to the landing gear, as well. I changed the canopy, the vacuum form. So, and I used Tamiya paints, if I'm not mistaken. I just built it, I think, last year, at the beginning of last year.
Good. Yeah. Wacky race. Okay. I always think of it as the weirdly, that was the Flintstone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the wacky racers with the creepy coupe and the two figures, and that's my first attempt at painting figures. And the car is done in enamel, lacquer, and craft paint for the bottom part. That's about it.
Okay.
Ish.
Nice.
Yep, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you. MPC. Next, what do we have? What's left on the table? Are we missing anyone there? All right, so Bill, are we going to do a 50-50 tonight? Okay, so we're going to take about 10 minutes, a little. Oh, the chips. Yeah. So,
Who's going?
who's going to Heritage Con?
I am.
Everybody. Since we're all going to be there, next meeting is on Sunday. Bill's got some club chips left. They're $10 for 10 chips. Poker piece. Yeah. So if you remember, poker chips is a thing where we've acquired them, like his podcast, our podcast, we have them. If we see a build we like, hey, that's pretty cool, we put a chip down. It's just something that we've done. We've got club chips, which Bill started off. If you're interested in buying some, so when you're at Heritage Con, you see something you like, feel free to leave it a chip, just to let them know it's something that you really like. The one thing as a club we say is, if you see something you like and it's already got one of our chips, give it, find someone else that you like just as much. So they're $1 a piece. Bill's got them. We're going to take a 10-minute biological social break because we're older, 15 minutes. We have our 50-50 draw for tickets. They are 1 for 1, 3 for 2, 9 for 5. Any membership dues, you can come see us at the same time. And don't forget, there's stuff to spend. We'll talk about our stash in 15 minutes. That's all. I'm going to carry the mic with me so that you poor guys that are stuck there can hear the idle banter and nonsensical talk that we do at the club.
I was always wondering what you say.
Yeah.
Do you like to with you?
I just assumed you talked about us foreigners.
Yeah.
Say the magic word, win $100. Oh, look at the size of that. That's bigger than a baby holding an apple.
I'm gonna.
Where do I
I'm not
pay my
putting the
membership dues?
To Jeff. When he's done looking at, yeah. Jeff?
Yeah.
Larry?
Larry.
That's a nice zero you did, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did the roof float plane version. Didn't
Yeah.
come out as well as yours. I'm going to redo it.
Yeah.
It's inexpensive
Yeah, I know.
inexpensive to buy, so I
Yeah.
could pick up another one, no problem.
I don't
I've
get
got
this.
that kit in my stash, actually, the
Like
roof.
that's
Oh,
ruined
yeah?
me now.
Yeah, the Tamiya one.
Yeah, I'd love to try getting my hands on the Edward one,
I don't know about those ships,
but
you know?
the only ones I've
Like
seen are the dual
Roma?
pack, and
Yeah.
at 100 and some odd
It's
Canadian. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I
He wants 20
don't
bucks.
need it that badly.
$20 for the
Yeah.
Roma. And it's got
Yeah,
ponchos.
it's, I'm not sure whether
I'd be happy to, but
Yeah.
like,
zero on the roof.
yeah, it's
from,
these, I'm doing it so the guys
Edward
can
are
hear,
actually
right?
just reboxes
Right now, I'm
of
talking
somebody
to
else's
Mike.
kit.
Mike and I are discussing
Oh,
whether or not to
really?
buy a ship
Yeah,
model.
I'm not sure. I'd
We're
check
gonna
it on
put it, and
Stalemates.
if I
I
bring it
will
home, I
check
know where
that
my
out.
wife's gonna stick it. It's
Yeah, because I
real
know that
sensitive down
sometimes
there.
they rebox and sometimes they do their own moldings.
Right now, we're hanging
Yes.
around the table
Yeah,
of
I know
models.
their the Gloucester Gladiator was a
You got
rebox
a-
of Gavia.
full cargo
Yeah.
again on Saturday. Not that I want to.
Even with their Reeboks as though, they still
I
tend
have my
to
son
add some
and I have
value.
my
You
buddy
know, they
Rob
do their
Adams.
own
I have us
decals
spots
and
that
they
we're going to
put
be loaded
their,
with stuff.
you know,
I
photo
already bought,
etch and all
as you
that
can
sort of
see, I already
stuff in the
picked up mine
boxes.
from him.
Exactly. Well, if Ed would get off his butt and start carrying airplanes, then maybe I'd buy it off of him. But
What's that?
What does he actually
$5.
carry in store? Not
It's a
airplanes. obviously.
Hasagawa. You'll be okay
doesn't
with that.
carry
But
any
Fujimi's-
aircraft
Yeah,
and only
the Fujimi's a nice
certain
little
tank models.
Okay.
Nothing to it.
Yeah. He gets lots of dragon stuff. He's got that and some others I bought
Yeah.
from him.
Yeah. I realized with that
You call him
zero
Elon, we
build,
call him
I think
the
that was when I
Nazis.
first realized that what I most love with the modeling is the researching and the construction.
Yes.
I love the researching. You know, I just go through every time I buy a new subject, I tend to.
If you like
It
the
used to
Roma,
be hard copy books. I can't really afford as many hard copy books now, but I'll go online and I'll set up a folder and just start collecting images and information and read the articles.
That's it exactly. I'm always doing that. And I
Yeah.
have to admit, now, of course, Heritage Con, as you heard, is this Sunday. They always have David Doyle books is usually
Yeah.
there. And I always pick up one or two of their books on whatever model I'm going to build that's in my stash
Yeah.
for the coming year.
I
If they've
would
got
love-
something on it, I'll pick it up.
I'd love to be able to afford to
I have
still
one of
do
these
that.
sitting at
They're
home.
such beautiful books. One of the hardest things with the books is I've just recently, as you probably remember, started building cars, and I've got a couple of Ferrari kits. I like the old classic. I like the old classic cars.
Yeah.
Like 416 and that sort of stuff. And looking for books, you know, good reference books for cars, classic
Yeah.
cars, they are expensive.
Yes.
You know,
One of my friends has a vet, and he's always picking up. He's had 2 vets, over the years, plus a Porsche, plus an MGB.
Yeah.
And he's always picks up cars for his books. And those are.
Yeah.
He's always looking to get them secondhand
Nice
somewhere
books
because
on
they're so
any
expensive.
good car
Yeah.
are like $100 plus.
Yeah, yeah. They make our armor books look cheap because they're
cool, they do. They really do.
like a bargain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll pick an IOU for next
One of the
year.
best. One of the
It's been
best books
started.
I ever.
Yeah, that's it. I just don't know
Yeah, one of
why.
the best books I ever actually
Wherever you
got
want.
was a book on a particular U-boat. And I can never remember the number. It's U-297, I think. Teddy Zuren's boat.
Okay.
The German Navy, the Kriegsmarine in World War II, actually sent photographer and journalist on a deployment.
Yes.
And basically just chronicled the entire deployment. You know, lots of photos of the crew being the crew, and the U-boat getting resupplied in the middle of the Atlantic, and the photographs in there are fantastic. But so's the story. You know, you actually get to read all about a particular U-boat and I built that U-boat, and I really enjoyed that because I got so into the story.
That would be fantastic to have that.
Yeah, it is. It's just I've always loved history, not just military history. I just love history. I eat documentaries on everything, and I really love that. And I think when I start translating that to models, I like their basic construction, but I also love going through the reference and going, oh, look at that little detail there. I need to find a way to build that and change that on the kit because it's not quite right. I'm not a rivet counter. Rivet counter is an overused term. I mean, to me, rivet counter is the derogatory term for someone who judges other people's kits, not so much their own. You know what I mean? I guess I'm sort of a rivet counter in that I like my builds to be.
You want to research
a good representation, but I don't get worried if I can't reproduce something exactly. I'm not good enough modeler to do that.
Neither am I. I'm far from that.
I just love finding those things, where you find something where the kit's oversimplified and you go, I can do better than that.
Yes.
Yep.
You start tinkering around.
Ooh. $30 for a ship there. They're just trying to show us, I think. I have to admit, I enjoy the research. I've always enjoyed military history.
Yeah.
And ever since I was a kid. So I also find that I started playing World of Tanks, so I started building models of various tanks that I was running in World of Tanks. It's not historical. In fact, it's in
You
some
can get
ways
some
it's
kits
just
that are specifically World of Tanks kits, can't you? Is it
there are a
Hasegawa that
few.
does it or something?
Yeah, there are a few. I haven't built any of those. I just there was what did I like? I had the M10 I was playing tank destroyer I was playing for a while, so I built a model of that.
Hey, Kevin, what's your email address? I watched a video the other day that you, now that I know what you're into, you'd really
Here, I'll put it
enjoy.
into the chat.
Okay, let's see. There's the link. Copy.
So you see at the bottom of your screen.
Did you get that?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a video I watched recently. It's a short and 45-minute one of the restoration of a Mark 14 Spitfire, which has been done by the guy, the family. You remember that woman who owned the two-seater Spitfire?
Oh, I didn't know a lady owned that. Okay.
Yeah, and her son now runs that company. She's gone off to do something else. But they restore warbirds, and this one's a restoration of a Mark 14. And what I loved about it was not only is it great reference, I also nerd out about sort of engineering and stuff. You know, I love watching people build things, craft things, repair things, and all that sort of stuff. And I just sat enraptured for like 45 minutes. There's a 4.5 hour version of the video, which I haven't watched. That's a bit too much of a
Aftermarket, it comes with the
That's two full-length movies.
Yeah, that is. It is.
Oh, God.
If I had 4 hours to kill, I could probably sit there because I just don't notice the time going past when I'm watching it.
Oh, God. Yeah, I have to admit, I find YouTube is such a great repository of detailed information on whatever vehicle you're going to build.
Yeah. What sort of kits do you most like to build?
I started, just like when I was a kid, I started with aircraft.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned over to armor, and I go back and forth. Right now, I just finishing an Austin K28 ambulance.
Okay.
If you ever saw the movie Ice Cold and Alex?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, old 1950s British movie. Anyhow, suffice to say, it's a British World War II Army ambulance.
Yeah.
And this is the Airfix offering in 1/35th scale. Really nice. Gecko came out with one at the same time, more detailed, a lot more, what do you call it? What's the metal stuff? Photo etch, a lot more photo etch.
Yep.
But photo etch is not my friend. So
no, it's nobody's friend. I know that Ian from on the bench says it's his friend, but no, he's a liar.
Yeah, it's not something I enjoy working with.
It's a frenemy at best.
Yes, and I know it adds detail and what have you. And this has a little bit of photo etch, but not much, and it's a sufficiently detailed for my needs.
Yeah,
and it came up very nice, and I did it in the contour, the tricolor scheme. I enjoyed that. The other one I've got, I'm about to start the Hasegawa 148. I think it's Nakajimi, Pete. Pete, the float plane, which is very nice, nicely detailed interior, even though I won't see much of it once I put it together.
Hasegawa do really nice kits of those Japanese subjects. Some of their older ones are raised panel lines and stuff, but it's a pity they don't release more new ones.
I haven't seen many new releases from them at all.
They've moved into doing things like World of Tanks, and they do now a lot of anime kind of things.
That's where the huge market is.
Yeah. So
interesting because
it's massive. that market.
Oh, it is. It far outshines the military market. Yeah, I've got another Hasegawa kit that I picked up. Was a Hawker Hurricane Mark II D is Delta. That's the one with the
Yeah.
240 millimeter anti-tank guns.
Yeah.
So that's also, it looks like a nice build. I love Hurricanes.
That's a subject I want to do a build of. I've been watching those
Oh.
Armor Hobby Hurricane kits, but
Oh,
I've got
wow,
so many
yes.
kits in my stash. I built up my stash while I was still working,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to do. In fact, I've stopped modeling a couple of times over the years. The first, obviously, when I discovered girls, but then as an adult, I picked up modeling again at one point, then stopped. And each time I've stopped, apart from the very last time, I've sold off my stash.
Oh.
So if and a lot of my paints and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Stupid of me. But if I hadn't, my stash now would be probably more like 300 kits instead of 70 or 80.
God.
And there are some kits that I gave away that I just wish I hadn't. But I had one of the old Monogram 1/48 B29.
Oh my goodness.
It was a massive box.
Yeah, huge.
And I wish I have no idea where I'd display it. I've actually already got a 1/48 Lancaster, and
Oh my goodness.
I toyed with starting it a couple of months ago, and I just looked around the room and I'm thinking, where am I going to put this thing?
That's it. When it comes to aircraft, I'm down to 1/48 scale single engined.
Yeah.
Because I just my sons bought me a 1/32 Tamiya Mosquito for Christmas one year, and it's great, beautifully detailed, but trying to find somewhere to put it is a bit of a challenge. So
Absolutely.
I've always told them,
aircraft Mosquito.
Yeah, the Mosquito, nice, and I enjoy his detailed engines, everything detailed, ultra detailed cockpit, everything else like that. Great build. I didn't want to paint it until I just bought an airbrush this year, and once I get good enough at it, then I'll paint it because I thought that's a plane that deserves some expertise from me before I try tackling it.
Airbrushing is just one of those things that's just a matter of practice. I mean, there are some fundamentals that can make it a lot easier or a lot harder.
Yeah.
Depending on how you approach it, like how to get the right consistency for your paint, how to work out the pressures and things. But it's one of those things. It's like driving a car. It's all feel.
Yep.
And you learn the basics and it's all feel. I've been airbrushing for decades and I just love it. But the thing that I think has been most useful for me with airbrushing is learning the things that make it easier.
Yes.
Because some things make it really hard.
Yes.
What sort of paints are you using?
Tamiya. And I have to admit, I went to
that's a great place to be. Not too stinky, very forgiving and easy to use. Great range of colors. Long lasting. That is absolutely the right thing. I know a lot of people who've tried to learn airbrushing using the water-based acrylics like Vallejo and stuff.
Oh God, I have.
You can get good results, but it is so unforgiving. Everything's got to be spot on for it to work. And then you'll be spraying and you'll get tip dry and all those sorts of things. I gave that up very, very quickly.
I have to admit, I was brush painting at the end with the AK 3rd Gen.
Yeah.
And you add some water to it, you get a good hand brushing, it does well. So I thought, they've got great colors. I got to do the airbrushing with this. And I have found it took me quite a while to get a mixture I was happy with. And even then, I'm now reluctant to use it. I did on the ambulance, because it had the right shade of the British 8th Army tan. So I used it, but the rest of the contour scheme was done with Tamiya paints that I mixed up because they're so much easier to apply. And I took an airbrushing course, and the guy even said, "Look, before you ask me what paint to use, the answer is Tamiya."
Yeah.
That's it. He
Absolutely.
said, you guys are all beginners. Just use Tamiya, use
Yeah.
it for a couple of years till you get the hang of it, then start adventuring outside of that.
I still use a lot of Tamiya paints. My predominantly for airbrushing now I use lacquers.
Yes, I've heard the
so-
SMS line is supposed to be very good and accurate.
Yeah, and the other one that's very good that is available in the States a lot is MRP. I
Oh,
don't know if
okay.
it's Mr. Paint, but it's called MRP.
Oh,
They behave very much the same. They're the thing with lacquer paints that makes them great. Yeah, the reason I chose them is first of all the ones that the ranges you buy you can basically use straight out of the bottle into the airbrush without having to thin it or reduce it. Although I do thin it sometimes depending on what I'm doing. So if I'm trying to get shading or whatever, I'll thin it down. But
I'm on the cusp of losing my job right now.
it has a very strong chemical bond with the plastic. So if you put down a lacquer onto
Email on a Saturday, it was a letter. And then
you can't even you can't clean it off. It bites into the plastic. So if you clean it off, it will actually have microscopically, carved into the paint. But that makes it incredibly hard and durable. In fact, that's probably one of the things I like most about an over Tamiya is just the durability of the finish.
You may cancel it, but I got to deal with
alcohol and stuff over the top of it, and it won't wipe off. But it stinks to high heaven. I've got a spray booth vent through a window, so it's not a problem.
Oh no, we're talking about the club.
Really
It's great. The national though.
Yeah, my problem is the cleaning. Like I have to admit, I'm using a lacquer thinner to clean my paint,
We're
my
back.
airbrush, and it cleans it great, but that leaves the smell. And I have the mask on and I have it vented and everything else like that. That's the other thing that smells.
We're going back to the meeting.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I use lacquer thinner to clean my airbrushes too.
Jeff sent out an email with our meeting reminder, and just prior, we talked about stashing. And we've seen in the last year, what are we up to now? 4 estates?
Yeah.
At least 4. I mean, we always talk about getting young people in the hobby, but those of us that are here, right, I'm seeing a lot more accretion formula than I'm not, except for Peter, right? And your daughter may one day get into this,
Peter's hands up.
I know Peter's hands. No, Peter's acknowledging that he's the young in here.
Yeah,
What? Yeah. 42. How old are you, Peter? 23, 42 kids. He's on his way.
I don't know at the beginning. It's a start, Peter.
So, one of the things we're always considering is, right, like as a club, we said it previously, what are you going to do when something happens, right? Have you made preparations? Like my wife knows, like I've told my wife, get in touch with the club, and she knows some of the guys and knows where the contact info is to help with getting rid of this. And I told her, I said, look, I don't really care what you want to do. You want to sell them for cheap? You want to give them away? You figure it out, right? I mean, I have some kits where I think of certain people and I go, okay, well, this kit definitely will go to like Ron or someone like that because I know that I like it. But the stash. The funny part is like, I think we all have a stash. I didn't think I had a stash. Yeah. So Mike's got 2 stashes.
Why don't we set a baseline and just do a survey by hand? How many people have more than 3,500 kits?
More than 3,500.
There's one possibility in the far right. There's one very close to 3,500 who's on the TV screen.
Yes, Eddie. But Ed, it was his business, so it doesn't count. It doesn't really count. No.
Kits were my business. Insanity was my business.
Okay, so how many people think they might have more than 1,000?
More than 1,000 kids.
You got Adam.
Oh,
you got Mario. How many people might have more than 500?
More than 500 kids. More than 250?
Holy shit.
How many have no clue how many they have?
I don't want to know how many they have.
Well, I mean,
I just verify you with my wife.
now how many of those aspire to more than what they have? Yeah. Actually, I had 48 and I now have 4 more. So,
Oh, don't even try.
so then, there's more than one hobby. I will.
I have 6.
Oh, you know one of them, you know what, Mike, I think you gotta buy for that.
Okay, now, yeah, a minute. Crap.
Oh, wow.
Both have chat. You both talk about the latest person.
Exactly. No guilt. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you count people that have their own 3D printer? Well, I think you have to count number of STL files. How many STL files? There we go.
And then we had, and then we go, how many does Dave have?
On one phone drive. I'll bet you down north of 5,000. I got 4 gig drive. I'm selected. Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We're going off base.
I have a Hot Wheels collection. I have over 5,000 Hot Wheels.
5,000. Oh, wow.
Arrangements for their staff.
That is the next question.
That's the next question.
No.
Which is good, right? So pre-planning is important. You know, if you really want to do some pre-planning, you can talk to our treasurer because he can take care of you in so many different ways. Including when he told my wife it's just as easy to put 2 bodies in a coffin as one. And I understand Stuart because my wife does quilting and cross stitching, and it's funny, she's got cataract. She went to Woodstock for the specialist that's there for cataract surgery, and her vision must be good enough. She did find another lens mill store and bought stuff like this there. So, that's a dangerous story, but then I can speak something. So one dynamic we noticed was like there's different kinds of people with stashes, right? Because there's hoarder, and nobody's a hoarder until you are. But some people are collectors. Is there anyone here that feels that they collect it, like to have them, right, for the sake of having?
I'm too busy to put his hand up, but I'll put my hand up for him.
You're a collector.
You're a collector of kids.
You're ruining the hobby.
Yeah.
Buy them, so it is. Yeah, it's not a problem. And we just asked because, right, like, you know, collecting, that's been talked about, is that part of the hobby? And there are people, I think, like collections exist. He's got cars, model trains, right? Everyone's got like little things. I have an entire series of die-cast James Bond vehicles out of Holland, the 156 scale, I think, or something like that, that my sister decided I needed and spent 10 years shipping me. Yeah, he's got Tintin figures. I got all the books at home. You know, collecting is a thing. And same with the model kits. There's limited runs, there's special editions. I know the box art, there's lots of guys who, when they build a kit, cut off the box art, keep the box art as a souvenir or the side, right? Peter? He still remembers because he's 23. Okay.
I do that.
Yeah. He sort of pressured me into getting a whole bunch of stuff kit because of the current situation across the other side of the world. Yeah, you might not see these kids good long, but they get. So that's called good business sense, right? He saw a target and he assaulted it and it was victorious. He pounced. Yeah, so we have some that are collectors. What was the other? The other term was I know I'm a stockpiler. That's how I've been. I've identified myself, right? I've got a. You know what? Don't pull the point at Dawson. Dawson is a merchant. Yes, so have I. Your closet. Bill has come out of the closet. No, sorry.
Those are just the ones I'm keeping.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have finance my
Addiction.
addiction. When I go to a show, if I see, no, I keep looking on the internet. I'm looking at price. If somebody's dumb enough to take that much of that, I'm sure I. So I just look around. You go to any model, obviously, car, watch, you can find stuff. And
Yeah.
Like, you find something and all of a sudden it shows up, wow, I've been looking for that for 5 years. Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
I don't know where to put it, but,
separate topic. Separate topic. We'll get to that. I will back Bill up because we went to Torcan to support our last show.
Oh, yeah.
He filled the back of my car full, and we went to the show, and we sold our show there, and I mean I bought stuff, Bill. But Bill was funny because all of a sudden somebody comes back with the guy in the back corner selling it for 50%. He was literally like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. All we had was a little trail of vapor. Bill was nowhere to be seen. He gets in. I get to my car. There's the same amount of model kits. It's full, and he's going, I made $220 today.
I
Spent 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And more models.
One other thing that I want to bring up for you guys here, insurance. Because some of these kits you guys have, believe it or not, I have one job, it's called life. So think about that. If you have a fire, a lot of damage, is it insured? Because the insurance company's gonna say, oh, really, is it for that? Insurance is very important.
Yep.
The market value.
That comes back to one of the things we suggest is document. Inventory, and future.
Or be like Blap and use ScaleMates. Because he's not the only one I know that uses it. I use it for my research and stuff, but I've got an account there, but ScaleMates, like Dave sent out his email, he goes, everything I own is on ScaleMates.
Yeah.
And it's so there's
you can log all your. If it's on my database, just go look up your kit, add it to your stat.
and then if you're interested in a kit, let's say you have an airplane, you put in that airplane kit and it'll list all the aftermarket that's appropriate for it. So you can say, oh, I want to get, if you have a ship, I want decks, I want barrels. I can bring it up on mine, Stuart. Go ahead, Jeff.
Talk. Hey, guys.
Hey. The other thing about ScaleMate, I think it's even more interesting, is that you pull up a kit and it will show you all the iterations for that kit. You'll buy a Rebel kit today. Yeah, we think it's a new mold. It's not. It was popped that you originally produced in 1937, and it was originally produced by some Japanese company, and they sold or licensed the mold at 15 different times. So you can have 3 different, any one of those in your collection. They're all the same model.
There it is. Yeah. So this is ScaleMate. So as an example, right, that's the armor kit that I have, which is on the table. So if you scroll down, and you can see the entire life story of that kit. And so for some people, it's important to know, am I dealing with a new kit? Is it a rebox? Right. So like this series kit, like I have right here, I got an original boxing, but there's nothing else but rebox. So there's no updated. So if you scroll down a bit, it'll show you if it's available for sale. It's got some of the major places, they'll be listed underneath. So if we pull up something that's a little bit newer, you can sort of see what market retail is. Yeah, and also, all the instruction, not all, most kits will have a PDF of the instructions. If you get an older kit without it, you can't make it out. You can usually download. So there's the new stuff.
Yeah, just go down here. Tell you what, you know, parking service kit outside. Go down more, it tells you what online retailers are carrying it. Right there.
This is also, every data here.
Yeah, it's all, yeah, it's all you can submit it, so yeah. Then it tells you any related aftermarket details, that kind of stuff. Like a lot of the automotive kits, it's me and stuff on there, they'll have all the different aftermarket details, like race.
We'll put it in a minute. Yeah. But if you want to see what's new, that's where we go to look for what's new, what's coming out. And look, what you'll see is retail, right? And sometimes kits that are worth a lot aren't listed on there. I got from Pete the Slave One from Fine Mold, which is a 2001, 2003 Fine Molds kit. And when you look it up in there, nobody's got it for sale. But then you go look in the aftermarket like eBay, and then you can start to see what the price is. But that gives you a starting point. But it's never found.
Really want to find the value, go on eBay, set it only with the gold prices, look at them.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you get what the market is taking
Now,
for.
one important thing about scale user submitted data. Why is it? So anytime I finish a kit, I look it up and I see, for example, the instructions are in there. So I've got a good scanner. I'll upload the instructions to scale. So, you know, if you ever get a kit, search for it, scale. Yeah, search for it, scale me, you might find the instructions.
They'll even have reviews if there's some reviews out for it or boxings. So that's your database. Have a look at it. Check that. The public will be there. Yeah. And if it's not, you can ask. So, yes, Peter? Yeah. Yeah, so they'll have walkarounds too. That I find those to be a little less frequent than they used to be. But it's still a great database, especially for instructions. And my favorite is always if I'm buying something, which edition, or what am I boxing? What's it coming with? What's it missing? And then that's where I go to if I'm at a hobby store or at a place. Ron?
All that I'm working on, right?
Okay, guys, a little respect here.
That was put out, reboxed and like a kit that's only like 3 or 4 years old, according to the Reebok. But when you look in Scalemates, the mold was made in '68.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
like the one I've got. About the same time
Yeah.
as yours.
Yeah, so you gotta, it's a good idea to look up on Scalemates, like if you get a model due on the shelf, right? And you go, ooh, look what Rebel just put out. But then you look on Scalemates and it was put out like 100 years ago.
Italy and Revell both. But it's an NPN.
Yeah, what I'll do is if I'm standing in the hobby shop and I don't really like building the old crappy kits anymore, right? I don't have time for that. So I will literally look up the kit and the kit number on my phone while I'm standing in the store, and then I'll scroll through and I'll be like, oh, this is a 2023 tooling, and this is even a 2005 tooling. I'm like, that'll be a halfway decent kit. I'm gonna buy it. If it's a 1967 tooling, I'm gonna be like, I think I'm gonna pass on that one. And plus, now a kit that would have cost like even 10 years ago, $20 is now like 40 or $50. I'm not paying $40 or $50 for a kit that was tooled in 1967 because it's bonkers, right?
Well, and I've done this with Steve. I remember looking at a Revell Heinkel, and Steve goes, "That's a really nice kit." I looked it up on Scalemates, and I saw it was the Reeboks of the Hasegawa kit, which is considered the best of that Heinkel. It's the best one that's been ever built, and so I'm like, oh, perfect. Now I know I'm getting a decent kit. And speaking of which, yeah, absolutely. Steve? Talk to both there.
Yeah, sure. If you ask at the store, hobbyandtoycentral.com, I looked up 5 kits today for people. There's a lot of people are knowledgeable, but we have a lot of people who are looking for specific car kits in particular, and they want to know is that box a new kit? Has the kit ever been produced? And so ScaleMates is like up on our computers all the time. The other thing that we can do is that if you come in and we can pull up the instructions, we can look for paint codes and do conversions. So if you're looking to, a Rebel kit and you want to get the paint codes for Tamiya, so you can pull those off the shelf, we can do that for you. So, try to get any of your, contacts at the hobby shops to kind of use ScaleMate as a resource, because it makes it a lot easier for everybody to get what they want. Thanks, Steve. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to sort of show
Yeah.
those who don't know about ScaleMate, this is the kind of stuff you can find.
Yeah, it's super handy.
Download that.
Yeah, and you can put all your model kits, it's like, guys that have like hundreds of kits, you can upload your model kits. You get and the accounts are free. You put up your account, you can upload it. And then when you're looking at your stash, you're like, oh yeah, I want to do that Mustang. You click on it in your database, then you can get everything's listed, other people who've made it. If you're trying to sell stuff, there's people on there that buy and sell on there quite often. So it's a good resource. And it's good management for your stuff.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. English. Like, I think they're out of the UK, the guys who started it originally.
Yeah.
I think it's useful to have a demo. The most out of skill.
Okay, well, put that down.
Yeah.
Mr. Legs? Yeah, your dad. Go ahead.
Sure, find them. So I picked up a Tyrell P38 1/6 scale, like the big one, from an estate sale. Somebody built it. Stuart recommended ScaleMates. I found all the instructions, and some gentleman there was parts missing, and they told me where to get these parts for this thing. So ScaleMates works.
We'll do a demo, yeah, either next meeting or next meeting's the swap meet, and everyone rules for that, but we'll see if we can get that in, maybe a little 10, 15-minute primer on ScaleMates. Yeah, feeding frenzy night, that's what we'll call it. Thanks, Dave.
Feeding frenzy.
So here's another question. So you got a stash, you got 150 kits. How many you got sitting there that aren't built? Yep, that many?
I have about 65 built.
And how finished?
Another 100.
Well, I thought like Jeff had the record with me for a while because he was like, well, I've got one kit I started in 1971 or something like that. When I was 3, which I thought was great to say. When I was 3, that's when he started the kit. It's still not finished. I'm 56 now. So get on it, pitter patter.
This kit, my collection is a Airfix Bostock 144 scale that I bought in the UK in 1970 when I was 14. I was 14.
Yeah. My oldest kit is the 20 mil borax tea. You can get 1947 from borax itself.
So, but we're talking about like Shelf of Doom.
Yeah.
Who's got a Shelf of Doom? Right.
Everybody.
47.
47? That's his number. More than you. You got 41. 50? I got 7, so I'm okay.
What's that?
Well, I've had this discussion with other people, like, what do you do? Like, I build them. I do a show. I'll go to shows. So whatever I build from March until Heritage Con, so for that 1 year, whatever I built since last Heritage Con, I'll bring for that calendar year. I don't go to shows. I mean, we don't have shows past October, but I mean, I've built kits. I built it. It's done, and pretty much surfed it when it's done. Right? Oh yeah, like yeah. Yeah, I've given them to friends. Sometimes I'll build something that's got a connection with somebody, whether it's their name, right? The vehicle is named, your Uncle Ferdinand, so you build a Ferdinand for him and stuff like that. So I've given them away and stuff, but they go in the rotation, and after a while, once they're a year or two old, if I haven't really looked at them, then there, I mean, I was thinking of selling them. Johnny, you did that. He sold some built kits for like $100. And because there's guys out there that want to be like us, but don't want to put the effort in, and yeah. Yeah, so I'm probably going to throw some up on sale just to see. I'll use Facebook Marketplace. I don't like shipping them, but most of the guys I know that sell them, they just say, hey, it's the buyers. Hey, it's going to get to you the way it's going to get to you. Buyer beware, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of going to Nostalgia Toy Shows just to see if there's any kits for sale. Yeah, we'll do the draw. Oh, you want to get going, Mike? Okay. All right. Because some people want to leave, let's do the 50-50 draw real quick. Because what are we at? Just the money, right? Oh.
Star Wars Legion.
Oh, a Star Wars Legion kit. That's usually 1/72. Is it? That was 72nd scale. Okay, so we have a Star Wars Legion kit, and we have. Did you buy tickets, Jeff? You want to do a draw then, since you have no vested interest?
There's two.
That's going okay.
Okay. I'll start the 2, 4, 3. 4, 4. 4, 4, 3. 4, 4, 3. You can't try it, by the way. 4, 4, 3. That will mean her. 46 dollars. Would you like to invest that in a? There we go. Invest that. Okay. 4, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7. That's a pretty nice problem. You all want participating.
Don't forget to take some of those for camp.
Oh, Cam's already got 5 also.
So, we can keep discussing, so I don't feel like it's 8:15. People are going to 8:30, but, we talked about that, like, are you going to do during the build? Some people may want to consider finished builds to sell them, sorry, just, yeah, to sell them. Like I said, Johnny was successful. Is Johnny in the meeting? Yeah, Johnny, you sold a couple online, didn't you?
I think he just gone on.
There he is. Hey, Johnny, you sold a couple of your kits on Facebook Marketplace, didn't you? Your built kits?
Yes, yes.
So.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Okay, okay.
So, you can reach out, like, I'm sure Johnny would be happy to answer any questions. He sold a couple of his tanks and it paid for more kits like the rest of us would do. But yeah, like, I mean, what are you going to do with your unbuilt kits, right? Who's planning on, are you going to finish any of them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Every once in a while, I fill it off the shelf.
Yeah.
Don't forget your phone number,
I'm
Ron.
starting to wander off now that the money's sent, so we'll just call it a night, I think. So we'll call it a night. If you want to pick up your stuff, otherwise we can still chit chat about the good old days. Gentlemen online, we are going to bid you a fond adieu. Thanks for coming.
Again. See you next time.
Take care.
See you, boys.
Bye-bye.
You guys.
See ya.